Good afternoon or good evening. we are we are starting on the Satipatthana. Are you able to hear? Are you able to see and are you able to hear? Okay, very nice. Okay, good to note that it is working. Very good evening or good afternoon or good morning, depending upon wherever you are from and from wherever you are attending this. So myself and Akmal, we had 1 second. Um, okay, there are two Discord servers where this people are joining from. One is Lotus Pond, from where people are attending, and also from the other one, the Pure Dhamma. So I'm expecting many of them to join. They all have accepted the invite. Uh, and Akmal says that he requires another 10 more minutes time to join. So actually, this was planned between myself and Akmal when we were talking that he would like to be part of this Satipatthana. He wanted to experience how do we understand Kaya and Upasana. So we had one level of discussion some time ago, and then it was looking better that we can do a desana or a discourse, which can help everyone. So before we start, have you heard about the Satipatthana Sutta, or do you know anything about that? You can just type it out so that by the time everyone joins, we can have a small discussion and then we can start on that, if you don't mind. Uh, 1 second. So I had yeah, I know mindfulness, but that's basically it. Okay, very nice, Edward. So we will go through each one of this. So there are four things there about the Satipatthana. First one talks about the Kaya, which is the body, and I would explain on what the Kaya really means as we go forward. And there is Chitta, sorry, there is Vedana, which is the feeling, and then there is Chitta, which is can be called as consciousness or thought patterns, and there is Dhamma, which is the actual contents of that thought. So we would be dealing with all the four of them to see how. 1 second. There's some small issues being faced, so I'm just addressing that issue. I think some people are facing problems in accessing, so let's give them 2 minutes time to access the desana or the discourse. Okay, so I think on the Discord, be able to get the proper link. So I think all set. So let's see whether people can join the link. Let's take another 1 or 2 minutes more. Sorry about actually keeping on hold. Okay, so some more people are joining from Discord, so I'll just wait for a minute or so. Normally, this Satipatthana Sutta is recited like a pirit or a gatha, which the meaning of pirit or gatha is that in the traditional Theravada, people would narrate that or sing or chant the entire Satipatthana Sutta, which takes around 30 to 45 minutes to complete the whole of it, including the Four Noble Truth and then the 37 Factors of Enlightenment and all that taken together would take around 45 minutes for just saying all of that, which is in Pali. What we would do is that today we would try to cover most of the part of the Kayanupassana, and then we can have a follow-up session on doing the Vedananupassana, then Chittanupassana, Dhammanupassana, and followed by the Four Noble Truths and all of that, which actually at the end of it, Buddha promises that whoever where to follow and practice the Satipatthana, would be able to definitely reach the state of anagami, that is uh, a person who would not return back, non-returner. So he would not get into any womb again. So that is the same promise what he does in the Karaniya Metta Sutta, where he promises that people who follow that would do it. So generally, the systematic process is that we have a small karmasthana so that our minds are filled with purity. So what we will be doing is we'll be having a small karmasthana in terms of etan, santan, etan, paditan. So I will chant that, and I will also chant Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. I will also tell you why we are doing that for those people who are joined in and would like to know what's the benefit of doing that. And then we'll start on the Satipatthana Sutta. I think by that time, many people would join in. So let me start on that instead of just waiting or keeping people waiting, whoever has joined. And once again, thank you very much for joining. And I hope that as much merits I might get in terms of experiencing and chanting Satipatthana Sutta, the same amount or more should pass to all of you, and you should be able to feel the same as I'm going to feel. So since we have the same body and the same minds, but with different deeds and the way we look at things, other than that, I think so we all can connect and experience a sort of nivima or the nibbana or the nirvana or calm abiding, if we were to put that in English, while we try out on the Satipatthana Sutta. So let me start with Namo Tassa Bhagavato, that Gatha. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. The meaning of that is that Namo is to offer, to prostrate, to give oneself up, as in surrender. Tassa, that is the person, the being, or the one who has crossed over. Bhagavato is Bhagava, that is one who has understood what is the bhava and who has moved out of that existences or trying to exist in some way or the other. So it's called as Ittha and on one side, and Anyatha on the other side, which is this side or that side. So these are the two things which makes something called as samsara, which is nothing but circling around or creating a vortex. So Bhagavato is a person who has found out how to extinguish this vortex and join the stream where the water just flows. There is nothing to say, this is that vortex or that circling thing in a water, like a whirlpool. So one who has removed the whirlpool is Tathagata or Bhagava. So we are surrendering to a person who has found way in crossing over the ocean of sorrow or ocean of circling, which is called samsara. So Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato. So Ari in Pali as well as in Sinhala means to rotate. Hato is to cut that. So the possibility of circling is gone. So there's nothing to circle around. We are in a dual world where the circling is possible. So if there's no duality, then there is nothing to circle with because there is nothing there to circle around. Samma Sambuddhassa is a person who has found the truth for himself. He is himself a teacher who could find how to cut the existence or the bhava. So Samma, ma is to cut, and Buddhassa is a person who has mastered how to remove the existences. So why 3 times is that first time we are saying it by the kaya or the body. The second time we are uttering it through our talk, that is vachi. And the third one we are doing it by mano, which is the mind. So in all the 3 ways, that is by body, speech, and mind, we are trying to understand what this Bhagava is all about. The bhava, it is becoming, the existences, how it can be cut. And now we go to the next one, which will really calm the mind. It's etan santan, etan panitan, yadidan sabba sankhara samato, sabbupadi patinisaggo, tanhakhayo, virago, nirodho, nibbananti. Etan santan, etan panitan, yadidan sabba sankhara samato, sabbupadi patinisaggo, tanhakhayo, virago, nirodho, nibbananti. Etan santan, etan panitan, yadidan sabba sankhara samato, sabbupadi patinisaggo, tanhakhayo, virago, nirodho, Nibbananti. Again, we said it 3 times. Once by the body, kaya, and one by vachi, speech, and once by mind, that is mano. The meaning of etan santan, etan panitan, etan is this is sa anta, that is extinguishing the identity, which always we say I did it, I am doing it, and that is what the vortex is all about. Etan panitan, this is excellent. Yadidan, that is when. Sabba sankhara samato, all preparations, what we do in order to hold on to that very thing which cannot be held. So we have 3 kind of dukkha arising there. One is dukkha dukkha, second one is sankhara dukkha, the third one is viparinama dukkha. Because we take something close to our heart and we have to do the sankhara, which is nothing but the preparations or some work or some deed, by applying something and trying to hold on to it. So we first have that I need to do something. So there's a dukkha dukkha and we have to do something about that. So we have the sankhara dukkha and it doesn't go as we wished for or keeps on changing. because of different situations and conditions. So we have a viparinama happening. That is, parinama is desired result. Viparinama is not as per one's expectation. So there's always a kind of dissatisfaction, whatever we do. So etan santan etan panitan yadidan sabba sankhara samatho. Sama is looking at as an equal, which equanimity. Samatho is a person who has extinguished the fire of expectation there. Sabbupadi patinisagho is Sabbupadi is whatever like a possession. We call that as an asset, something as an asset because we possess it. It can be knowledge, it can be expertise, it can be home, it can be a person, it can be any material comforts like an air conditioner, TV, and iPhone, and whatever, any kind of material possessions. Pati nisagho is, pati is bonding with it. So nisagho is one who has removed that bond with all of this, which is irrelevant because it keeps on failing, it keeps on decaying. So sabbupadi patinissago, anything what we call as an asset keeps on actually reducing in its value, but we attach a value to it in our heart and we feel that it still has value. So we value everything what cannot be valued, and then we get into pain or sorrow. Pain and sorrow. So Sabbupadi patinissago tanhakkayo. Tanha is to crave, tan plus ha. That is catching hold of something which cannot be held. So it's like fire. So we burn our fingers, but we still want to warm it up. So that's the meaning of tanha. So it is in English called as craving, but it is much deeper than the craving. Tanhakkayo is to remove our hand from there. Stop burning ourselves, burning with desires, burning with aversion, burning with delusion. And this is the three burnings what we always have. Virago. So now I know I'm burning things, so I will just get out of that burning. So viraga. Nirodha. Nir plus uddha is nirodha. Nir is to cut it, that is not to arise again, and uddha is arising. So if we were not to catch something like a sankhara, then something like a tanha, then there's nothing that will get burnt. So you basically extinguish it. Nirodho nibbananti. So now the nibbana is achieved. Why? Because raga, dvesha, moha, desire, aversion, delusion are totally gone. So that is nibbana. So basically the idea here is to get into nibbana, because everything else is conditioned. Nibbana is something which is unconditioned, because it doesn't have to have any condition to appear there. Whereas for other things, everything has to be conditioned. So everything in a Pali language, if we were to put, it's called as sankata. That is conditioned to be believed as true. So we package it, or everything is packaged for us and say that this is the reality, this is the truth. So we call it as a convention. And with this convention comes the language. And with the language, we get into this proliferation of what we think it should be. So that's the meaning of etan santan, etan panitan. So this is a very good thing for calming the mind before we actually start on anything which is very deeper, as in the Satipattahana Sutta. So let me start on this one. So I will initially tell you what has happened, and then we will really dig deeper into each one of these Kayanupasana. So the Buddha at one time was in a place called as Kammasa Dhamma. So that is the place. And there's a market town and it is belonging to a clan of Kurus. So they are the people who used to have a lot of morality, that is Sila, and they had misplaced ideas of Samadhi, and they didn't have the right wisdom. So Buddha wanted to teach them how to get into the other two aspects apart from morality. How do we get into the highest absorption using anicca dukkha anatta, and how do we establish oneself in nibbana? So for that we need to have panya in Pali or wisdom in English. So he then asked all the people, bhikkhus or the monks and lay people alike, to assemble, and they assembled there. And after assembling there, he just said that I'll give you a path which not only shows you the way, but it's a guaranteed way if you were to follow. For what? For purification of the beings who are in the samsara, or the constant rotation between two different poles. And due to that, there is a lot of grief and lamentation. That is soka paridevam. Samatikkamaya, that is when mati is the mind, the faculty of reasoning. So we make the faculty of reasoning much sharp so that it can pick up the right information and throw the wrong information. Dukkha do manassanam, that is, dukkha is in general suffering, and the deeper of that suffering is the mental suffering called as do manasa. So we have a physical pain, and then we have a mental pain. So he would teach us how to extinguish that. Nyayasa adhigamaya nibbanasa satchikiryaya. So that for attaining the right way for direct realization of nibbana without any cause and conditions. So that's the whole idea, is to remove the cause and effect, or hetu phala. Beyond that is nibbana. Yadidam chattaro satipatthana, that is to say that there are 4 ways of attending to this sati. Sati is mindfulness, and patthana is to establish. So how do we establish oneself in right mindfulness or right way of living, so that we can come out of all the sorrows and lamentations and associated issues that comes up along with that, leading to depression when things does not fall in place as we expected it to fall in place. So he says katama chattaro, that is which 4, and then Buddha explains ida bhikkhave bhikkhu kaye kayanupassi viharati atapi sampajano satima vineya loke abhijja domanasan. So he is saying that, hey monks, you know what? He needs a person who want to have something called as peace within himself, should dwell in observing something of this collection. So the question is, what is kaya? Kaya is a collection. So our body is a collection of certain things. And in that certain things, there are certain subtle things and there are certain gross things. So our skin and the bones and all of that is actually gross. So we can feel it. Actually, if we press our hands, we can feel the bones. And not only that, we feel many things, but we have not at all tested what all we can feel through our hands and legs, different parts of the body. So that's one thing what we'll be doing as part of Satipatthana, that we all will experience and touch our bodies to see what we feel. And what is this collection all about? So you see, we have this pasada rupa, which is called as the shiny objects, which is established in the heart. region of the heart, and they are 5 in numbers. And they are chakku, that is the inner eye, which gets established when something is shown at it. So something comes to it, and it has to be a rupa or a form, a visible form with consciousness brings this chakku to operation. And then we have sota, which is the hearing. So there's an ear. We have an external ear, but inside there's an inner ear, which gets generated immediately when a sound is heard. So sota has shabda, ghana has gandha. That is, ghana is the inner nose or inner smelling region, and gandha is the smell or the perfume or a odor which is coming. So we can recognize that odor which is coming. And there's jibha. Jibha roughly translated as the tongue, but it is beyond the tongue. It is an inner sensation which makes things to taste. And there is a taste called rasa. And we have kaya, that is so-called body consisting of 4 elements, that is Patavi, Apo, Vayo, Tejo. And those people who don't know Pali words, it is Patavi means it is earth element, that is has a solidity, and that conditions the solid, seems like solid. So all our external surfaces look solid. Then we have Apo. So if we were to jog for some time or sit in a hot place without air conditioning and the fan, the same body will start sweating. So we have Apo. Then we have temperature in the body. So there's Tejo. And there is air element. So all the things what we're eating, and there's a movement which happens as digestion and assimilation and circulation. All of that is part of the air or the gases. So we basically have these 4 elements, and that's called kaya. And to do that, we need to have a sense of touch. And this is again in the heart region. So we all can touch something, and then the grossness and the subtleness depends on that person. So some people find something rough, and some persons find the same thing not that rough. So we cannot really quantify what the rough is, because we can now qualify that, you know what, I'm feeling this very rough, and somebody might say, no, this is not as rough as you think it should be. Okay. And finally, the 6th one, which is very subtle, and that is like the king is mano, that is the mind, and it has dhamma, that is the thoughts. So basically, these are the kaya. So what he's saying is that bhikkhu kaye kayano passi viharati, that is, a person will start to see as something happening in the body. That is, when an object comes, I see, but an object is not there, there's nothing to see. When an object is coming to the ear, I say, I hear. And when the object is not there, there's nothing to hear. When a smell is coming as an odor, I say, I am smelling. But when it's removed, it's not there. So that means it is absolutely conditioned. So there should be some condition for us to feel that something is happening. So these 6 sense doors open up and take the object, show to the mind, and the mind decides what to do with that. So then it identifies and say, I am seeing it, I am hearing it, I am touching it, I am tasting it, I am thinking. So this I would come into existence because of this kaya, or a collection, and that gives us that ghana sanya. Ghana is solidity, and sanya is the perception. So it makes us feel that there is something real in that. So he says, look at that and see what is creating this mental fire. So atapi sampajano satima vinaya loke abhijja domanasan. That is extinguishing atapa. That is becomes atapi, atapa. Tapa is heating up. Atapa, anything or a added on that would mean that you're negating it. So atapi means that a person is extinguishing something or removing something. What is he removing? He's removing mental fire, mental heat. So we get heated up with all these objects which are coming to the mind. So atapi sampajano, sampajana, pajana is to completely understand. Sampajana is, some is a mixture of raga, dvesha, moha, or desires, aversion, and delusion. So these three things added together, I'm just looking at when I see a chakku and an object which is coming to that eye, a good-looking woman has come. It's actually just a woman. The good-looking has come in my mind because I have an object in the mind which says, these are the characteristics which call as a good woman or beautiful woman or a sexy woman or something like that. Or I can call my laptop as a beautiful laptop or a very good laptop or something like that, because this goodness and beautifulness and all that wow factor and this factor is in the mind. Then that is the tapa, because we are absolutely trying to enjoy those things which really don't exist. The beautiful doesn't exist in the woman. The beautiful doesn't exist in the flower. The beautiful doesn't exist in the fruit. The sweetness doesn't really exist out there in the fruit. It's just sweet. But I would say it was such a sweet thing I've ever eaten. But the other person might not really feel that. He might feel that there was little bit of the sweetness was not there, but for this person it was very good in terms of sweet. So we have two poles there. We have something we say wow, and something we say yuck. We don't like it. So this is the tapa. So atapi sampajano satima. Again, sati is mindfulness. We mindfully cut this. Cut what? Cut this two poles, which says that good and bad. Oh, this is beautiful and this is ugly. Oh, this is fine, but this is not fine. And we go to one of these extreme, and then we really don't see things as they are, as they really are. Vinaya loke is that we have these kleshas arising, and that makes it coming back again and again. So kleshas are the fermentation. So we have vinaya, that is, naya is to have that debt filled with this thinking that it is very good for us. So we have the raga and dvesha, or the desires and aversion, taking over us and then giving us an impression that it is the best thing I can ever do in my life. And that's conditions. And to that, we create a loka. Loka is the world. So we actually create a loka which is debted with raga, desires on one side, and dvesha or aversion on the other side. So we take our post, we take sides, and we would like to remain in that side. And you say that everybody wants pleasurable things. There's nobody in this world who doesn't want to enjoy pleasurable things. But when it gets painful, quickly he wants to make that as a pleasurable thing. That's the basic aim of doing that, and that causes abhicha. Abhi-icha. Icha is liking, and abhi-icha is excessive liking. And domanasam is the mental anguish, the mental anxiety which gets created. So it's called as vexation, a right word if we were to put that. So one side is abhicha, that is excessive liking, and another side is excessive frustration to get that what we want. Similarly is about Vedana, and then we have the Chitta and the Dhamma. So he repeats these for all the four because that is what we need to see. I didn't go into detail about Vedana, Chitta, and the Dhamma because when we really go into that, we will be doing it like what I did on Kaya. So let's come to Anapana Pabbam, and I think with that we will end our talk today because I think that would be a good amount of time of talking, and we can open up for questions. So here is what we need to do. So there are two ways of meditation. Now my mind is agitated and or it's not stable yet, and now what do I do? So he says, Katancha pana bhikkave bhikkhu kaye kayana passi viharati. That is, and how monks does a person or a monk dwelling within himself and contemplating the nature of this collection would see his body in himself. How does he see his collections? So the answer here is that idabhikkave bhikkhu aranyagato va rukkamulagato va shunyagara va nisidati pallankam abhujitva ujum kayam panidhaya parimukham satim upatapitva. So this is in Pali, so let me explain that in normal English in terms of the first stage, and then we'll go to the actual meanings as per Arya jhana or Arya way of doing it in the second stage. So now my mind is not fit enough yet to get into the Arya side. So we have to first calm our mind, and that's called a samatha, that is tranquil meditation. And that is literally anarya kind of meditation, but that really helps to calm the mind. And then we can move ourselves or graduate ourselves into the Arya. So assuming a person who has a lot of turbulence in his mind, in that case, he goes to Aranya. So in the normal word, it is treated as forest, but actually it is about a person who has Aranna. Ranna is war, and Ranna is not having war with himself. So we generally have war within ourselves in terms of what should we do and what should not be doing. So we always have this duality coming up. This is good and that is not good. This is fair and that is unfair. And this is beautiful, that is ugly. So like that, we have this war happening in our minds. So we want to take side. So that is called as Aranna. And Aranna is not having that, having a peace abiding or calm abiding. Rukkamula gatova. Rukka is root of the tree. So generally it is translated as going to the root of the tree, but it is actually understanding the root cause of the problem. The root cause of the problem is that I'm attached to something, and that attachment can be for desire, or it can be for aversion, or it can be for both. And shunyagara gatova, so it is shunya is empty, and shunyagara is an empty space. But actually, the person is trying to empty his mind of his emotions. So what he does is that he'll first check what's the kind of emotion this person is having. Am I getting depressed? Am I feeling happy? I'm feeling sad. I'm feeling dejected. Am I feeling very much contented? Or am I feeling filled with desires? Or I'm feeling with hunger or thirst or whatever. So all of these are something to do with the state of the mind. So he has to empty of those. And he sits down contemplating on that. So nisidati is to sit. Nisinna is sitting, and Nisidati is he's relaxed and he's sitting and contemplating on that. Pallankam abhujitva. Pallankam is his legs folded, but actually it is about being modest. Ujum kayam panidhaya, so setting himself right, upright. It is not about keeping his body straight like a piece of wood. That's not what it means. It is setting himself upright. And parimukham satim upattapetva, that is parimukham. People think that, the translation is that he will bring his consciousness to the tip of the nose, and that's not what it is. It is about being mindful in terms of what he wants to achieve. So he is wanting to achieve nibbana. So he wants to have the calm abiding within himself, which will relieve him from all the pains and turbulence what he is facing in his life. So he's keeping that as a goal. So parimukham upattapetva. And what does he do after that? He now observes. So here you can do two ways. One way, the anariya way, and one is the ariya way. So if somebody has attended Vipassana of Goenka or any other thing, they normally teach about 10 days course where the first 3 days will be on Anapanasati, and the 4th day to 9th day, it would be Vipassana. So they only look at the breath coming in and going out, and that really calms the mind. And that is the anariya because it doesn't go deeper than that. So that's the only reason why it is called anariya. But it is suitable for people who minds are really struggling with personal turmoil or personal issues, or who would like to have some calmness in his mind or her mind, and then trying to have peace with themselves. And once he does that, he can really get into the real meditation of Arya. So I will explain both of them. So first one I will explain as a anariya because it calms the mind. So it will make you tranquil. It will make you feel peaceful or calm abiding. For the time being, it suppresses all the negative tendencies of the mind, but it doesn't relieve the pain. It just suppresses the pain. So sato va asasati, sato va pasasati, dhigam va asasanto, dhigam asasameti pajanati. So now what he does is that asa and passa is that in and out. So I watch my breath and I will see what is happening with the breath. It would, if we observe now, it is coming in one of the nostrils. It might be coming in both the nostril. It might be coming in the left nostril for somebody. It might be coming in the right nostril for somebody. It might be heavy in one. It can be very light in another one. It can be very small in one. It can be very big in another one. I mean to say that for some people, the in-breath might be very deep, and for some people, the in-breath is very shallow. And in some people, the in-breath is, long, and it is, for some people, it is shallow or low. So like that, we can look at it. So we really see whether it's long, and he marks himself that, I am having a long breath now. That is, he is mentally marking it. And when he is breathing out, he is looking at, I am also, right now, the breath is long. The breath in is long, the breath out is also long. So that's what he is actually looking at. Or the breath is short, in-breath is short, or the out-breath is short. Now, please remember, again, I repeat, it is anariya because we are just concentrating on the breath and calming the mind. It doesn't lift oneself out of all the kleshas what we have. 2, it is required when our mind is totally disturbed with any personal issues we are facing or something like that. At that time, Arya way of contemplation might not really work. So we need to calm the mind. Number 3 is that we are not going to change the pace of the breath or do something with the breath. We are not interfering with the breath. We are just watching as the breath comes in and as the breath goes out. Then he says, Sabbakaya Patisamvedi Asasami Sikkati. That is, he will now experience that breath coming in and going out in his whole body, and he will look at, oh, I'm now breathing in for the whole body instead of just the nostrils. He's able to penetrate deeper, and he sees that the entire body is breathing in and the entire body is breathing out. And he sees that this process of doing it is calming his body. Now he's mentally training himself that, okay, now it is calming. So with my in-breath, I'm calming myself, and in the out-breath, I'm again calming myself. So this is the first level of practice, which can take 10 to 15 minutes if we were to calm the mind. Now we go back and do it in the Arya way, which is the actual deeper way than just this meditation what we did. So here we are going to not only do that, we are going to observe the thoughts. So before we really observe the thought, we are checking the breath. If you watch your breath carefully right now, is that it's not just air which is coming in, it's coming up with something else. And that something else is heat and cold. It's not just the breath. When what we did in Anariya meditation is that we just watch the breath is long and short and all that. But in the Arya approach, we are not only doing that, we are seeing what really is coming in. We also can see that it has all the 4 elements. It has Pathvi, Apo, Vayo, Tejo. All the 4 elements are there in the breath. So if you really observe, if it's coming in your right nostril or in your left nostril, it's quite obvious that when we take the breath, we actually see that the breath is heavy or it's light, which is part of solidity, which is Patavi. Then there is moisture, so there is Apo. And there is temperature, so there is Tejo. And there is movement. The whole body is moving as we breathe in and as we breathe out. So there is the Vayo. Not only that, there is another funny thing which is happening there. This is conditioned. If I don't have an oxygen, I cannot breathe. I feel choked. Why? Because the condition is changed. Only when the oxygen is there, only when the right environment is there, then only this breathing can be long and short. That is one. If I'm in emotional distress, my breathing pattern will change. It becomes totally disturbed. So the chittas get disturbed and the thoughts creates a turmoil, and that turmoil is shown on the body through the breath. So now I'm saying it's not only this, it's actually changing the pace of my breath, which I don't have any control whatsoever. So it is sankata, it is condition. And now I observe it's not only condition, it is paticca samutpanna. So it is subjected to dependent origination. So what is dependent? There's a condition lying there. There's an underlying condition of Patavi, Apo, Vayo, Tejo with Chitta. All of this taken together is what I name it as breath. But in actual sense, there is a temperature and there is this moisture and there is this what I can say is there is a movement and there is this solidity, as in heaviness or lightness, long and short. If you really see whatever is there, the breath changes by thoughts. It doesn't do anything other than that. So as the thought changes, so the breath changes. So I, as an observer, does not have any choice to do anything. Even though I want to change it, it's not possible. It depends on the thoughts. So I am not anyone who can do anything about it. So it is dependently originated. And due to that, it is nisatta. That is, there are no being there in the breath. There's nobody there to say that the breath should be done this way or breath should be done that way. That's not true. And is nijjiva. That is, there is no life in a breath. It's based upon a certain conditions. If the condition changes, the person is dead. If the oxygen were to be cut off, like in the Himalayan region where I had gone last 2 weeks back, due to higher elevation, people were finding it very tough to breathe. And some were able to breathe and some were not able to breathe. And it's not a common factor because the conditions are not favorable. So it's not that I want to breathe. It is, I have got nothing to do with breathing, which I can see it at an 18,000 feet or something like 5,800 meters, what the body is going to do. And the person has nothing to say on that. If he's not able to breathe, we can only bring an alternative, which is oxygen. So we can take an oxygen cylinder and then put it on his nose and then he might start breathing because the condition has changed. Now we are building another condition for him to breathe. So there's nothing jiva there. So there's nijjiva and it is tuchcha. It's in vain. All the effort of breathing is in vain. That is, I am breathing. That's in vain. You breathe because you just breathe. There's no I in that breathing. I cannot say I'm breathing. And it's shunya, it is emptiness. Basically, it's completely empty. As the breath goes in, it doesn't stay for a long time, it comes out. Nothing that I can do about it. And it is kaya dhamma, that is, decreases moment by moment. All our life in breathing, as we breathe in, breathe out, our life is fading away. So kaya dhamma, vaya dhamma, that is, it will disappear eventually. The person breathing disappears as he ages moment to moment. And it's viraga. So viraga dhamma is not desire oriented. It just exists as long as it should exist. And that's the reason it is nirodha dhamma, will not arise if condition do not favor. And ultimately, this is what the anicca dukkha anatta is all about, is khayatena anicca. That is, the objective of having this anicca is that they're subject to reduction or decrease all the time, all the moment in whatever we are doing. So the breath, which is consisting of Prithvi, Patavi, Apo, Vayo, Tejo, keeps on changing automatically. The amount of moisture in the nose, the amount of moisture in the air outside, that changes the way the breath will come. And also, sometime we breathe to the right nostril and sometime we breathe to the left nostril, sometime we breathe to both the nostril. But we cannot interfere. There's nobody to interfere there. That means there is always khayatena anicca, bhayatena dukkha. That is, there is terrible fear of losing life if one were not able to breathe. And that is the dukkha. So we have an innate fear in us on what is going to happen. And due to that reason, whatever we do as sankhara, whatever we are doing as a preparation, it's all waste because it is asara kathena anatta. That is, they don't have any essence. Each breath, in breath and out breath, don't really have any essence. It's only conditioned. As long as the conditions match, we keep on breathing. I cannot say I am breathing. I cannot say now I was breathing, or I cannot say I will be breathing in future. It's not that what I wish it to be, it is what it is. If the breathing were to stop, it stops. Nothing anybody can do about it. And that is the reason it is called anatta, because no one have any control on their appearance and disappearance. So what I do as a Satipatthana here in terms of kaya, in terms of the anapana, is to observe the breath and go deeper on how it is looking, whether it is looking solid, liquid, all of that, plus how the chittas are getting formed based upon the breath. So as I keep on observing the breath, the chittas come down. When the chittas come down, the breath becomes more and more and more deep, to an extent that there's no breath at all. The breath stops. But still I am alive. So it shows that the chitta, the consciousness, is the only thing which exists, and remaining thing doesn't exist at all. That's the first thing what I can really observe in my breath. And I can also see that it has temperature. It has temperature as in coldness and hotness. So the in-breath is cold and the out-breath is hot. Now, I didn't do anything about it. It just occurs. And then not only that, I can see it is having moisture. I did not add any moisture to it. It depends on the outside moisture and the inside moisture. And I also observe that it is heavy or light. And I also observe this movement. And there's also outside movement. There's also inside movement. So now I can see that they both are going out together like hand and gloves, right? So now I can see my entire body, this kaya, which is collection of chakku, sota, ghana, jiva, all of that, and consisting of different parts of the body as collection. The whole breath is consisting, just like it's consisting of Patavi, Apo, Vayo, Tejo. The same thing is there in the whole body. There is solidity in the body, there is liquidity in the body, and there is temperature in the body, and there is movement in the body. Now I can see the whole body itself through the breath. As the breath goes up, the whole body is pulled up. As the breath goes down, the whole body is pulled down. Go up, come down. That's the movement. Then the whole solidity is lifted up. Oh my goodness, I didn't know I can lift such a heavy weight. I am weighing around, let us say, 70 kgs or 60 kgs. A whole 60 kg mass is lifted up, lifted down. So the heaviness is gone. Who did that? Nobody. So this would be the formula for me to really observe, is that how this is happening. It is happening not because I want it to happen. There are causes. So there is sankata, paticca samutpanna, nissatta, nijjiva, tucca, shunya, khayadhamma, vayadhamma, viragadhamma, nirodhadhamma, khayatena anicca, bhayatena dukkha, asaratena anatta. So we have 13 factors which basically brings up, reduces down all the time in whatever we are doing. So there is nothing called as a person. And this is what he understands through his contemplation. And when he contemplates that, then he knows the origination of the body. So he says, Samudaya Dhammanupassiva Kayasmin Viharati. Now he contemplates on the origination, Samudaya, that is how it is arising. Vayadhamma, that is how he is dissolving, how the body is automatically dissolving with every breath. The Patavi, Apo, Vayo, Tejo, and the Chittas are really making magic over there. So now he finds the Rupa, Vedana, Sanya, Sankhara, Vijnana, which is what is called as I in the mind, because it is arising and passing away, arising and passing away, as these four elements plus the Chitta. So samudaya vai dhammanupassiva kayasmin viharati, that is, he now dwells contemplating on the nature of this body, originating it and dissolving it, like the breath, in breath comes in, the body goes up, and the out breath, body goes down. Everything comes up, everything goes down. There's nothing he can do. So there are 13 factors, and all of those factors are responsible for this event to happen. Yavadeva jnanamattaya patisati mattaya. So just as far as it is necessary for him to gain this knowledge, he fully understands this through mindfulness. Anisito cha viharati nachakincha loke upadiyati. So he dwells independent and being attached to anything in the world. And this is what he means that evam piko bhikkhu bhikkhave bhikkhu kaye kayano passi viharati. In this way, monk, he dwells contemplating the nature of the body within his own body. That is, he now knows that this is what it is, what is called as a body. It consists of so many different things, of six senses and the 6 objects of senses. Plus, he knows that in the breath there is this Patavi, Apo, Vayu, Tejo. He also finds that his whole body is appearing and disappearing, appearing and disappearing. Even though it's such a heavy body, it is being lifted up and lifted down due to Chitta. The consciousness is able to do that. So the Vijnana is bringing everything together and showing that you are the person. Now he is going back and observing it. Who is this person? And then what does he find? He finds the 13 factors. So he sees all the 13 factors. So now when I take the in-breath, I know it is Sankata, it is condition. Oxygen is required. Then only there's breath coming in and going out. If something over there, if there's a constriction of breath, the person cannot breathe, no matter what he does. So it is Sankata. Paticca samutpanna, it is dependently originated. Nisatta, neither there is any person or beings there in the breath. Nijjiva, there is no lasting soul, or what we call as a soul theory. That doesn't really exist. Tuchcha, it's all in vain. We try to hold it. Shunya, that is, it's empty. Kayadhamma, it is decreasing every moment by moment. As we breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, our life is fading away. That many years and that many months and that many days, that many minutes, that many hours and that many minutes and that many seconds are just passing by. Vayadhamma, it is disappearing. I cannot go back to yesterday life. I cannot go back to previous day life. Like that, I cannot go back to my youth and I cannot go back to my childhood. That's not possible. So it's Vaya. And Viraga Dhamma it is not desire oriented. Nirodha Dhamma, it will not arise if their condition do not favor. Khayatena anicca, bhayatena dukkha, and asaratena anatta. So this is what the person dwells himself in, anicca, dukkha, anatta, in the breath. So with that, let me end my discussion on this Anapana Sati, and in the next session, we can take furthermore. Any questions? I think I've been speaking for 1 hour, 8 minutes now, so let me stop, and then we can wait for some questions to be asked. Do anyone have any questions? You can even post it on Discord and I can answer to that, or you want to have a voice call or something like that, we can do it. Okay, there's a question from Akmal. Does one do the breath aspect of Satipatthana only in formal meditation, or can be done informally at any time? Actually, this can be done at any time because we need to observe breath and the 13 factors, what I mentioned, as much as possible. Even when I'm doing this desana or the discourse, I can be doing it because the breath is connected with the chitta. So if we go deeper into even to the Abhidhamma, we can find the reference in terms of the chitta viti and how this is connected with the breath. So it will be good to observe it apart from being in a formal meditation. Formal meditation is good because it will not allow the impurities to arise, but it is very beneficial if we are looking at the quality of the breath in terms of the 4 elements plus the chitta and the 13 factors like sankata and all that. So what we need to remember is that those 13 things, it is sankata, paticca samutpanna, it is nisatta, nijjiva, and then we have tucca, shunya, khaya dhamma, vaya dhamma, viraga dhamma, nirodha dhamma, khayatena anicca, bhayatena dukkha, asarattena anatta. So let me tell that in English. It is condition, it is subject to dependent origination. It doesn't have any person or beings in the breath. There's no lasting soul which we think exists in our body or something like that. And trying to hold something like I'm trying to hold the breath for, let us say, 1 hour. It's in vain. I might do it once, but I cannot do it all the time. It's not possible. So it's in vain. It's shunya because it is the core is empty of essence. There's nothing absolutely there in a breath. It just has pathavi as solidity, apo as liquidity, vayu as the movement or the gaseous, and tejo as in cold and heat, and that we can feel it. We don't require any instrument to say so. We can really feel it. The only question is we need to feel it. So we have shunya, we have khaya dhamma. We have been breathing from the time we are born, and we've been breathing, and we don't know how long we're going to breathe. And it is diminishing. Every moment it is diminishing. So every second, if we take millisecond and second and minutes and hours and days and years, we just are passing the breath. So we cannot stop that from happening. There's nobody can stop it. No God can stop it. No soul can stop it. It just keeps on happening. And Vaidhamma, it disappears. Viraga Dhamma is not desire oriented. And Nirodha Dhamma, that is the conditions, if doesn't favor, it doesn't appear again. That is, if my breath stops right now, nothing can be done by anyone. Nothing at all, because it's Nirodha. Khayatena anicca, that is subject to reduction and decrease. It is not as per what one is wishing it to be. Bhayatena dukkha, since there are terrible fear in the mind of losing what we have. Our age is being lost, and whatever we are eating is lost. Everything is getting lost. And that is the fear, and that is very painful. And that's the reason it's called dukkha. Asarakathena anatta, so that they don't have any essence. Due to that, no one can control their appearance and disappearance. So this, if we are able to practice in every breath, we can see it, then we have done what we have supposed to be doing on the breath. Yeah, thank you for that question, Akmal. Any other questions? Okay. The question I've been asked is that I understand a dependent origination in the breath and how it is anicca, dukkha, and anatta, but I cannot see the connection of four. Could you explain that again, please? Okay. Akmal, right now you check your nostril what are you getting in the breath? As you breathe in, you have cold air going in. As you breathe out, there is hot air. Can you feel that? Try to feel that, and then you will find that along with that is coming some moisture. There is some liquid element which comes. If you keep your finger close to your nose, whichever part of that nose where you're getting it, you will feel some wetness in the finger. And now there is a pressure created as the air goes in and the air goes out, and that is how the solidity element is. So you have a pressure, and that creates a solid impression. As you breathe in, you feel a stream of air going in and a stream of air coming out. You don't see it as an individual. You see it as a group of something going in and something going out. And this going in and going out is the movement. And that is the reason it is 4 elements. Hope I could answer you. Any other questions? If nobody has any questions, so shall we end the call? Okay, again, another question from Akmal. Does one contemplate on all the 13 factors, keeping them in mind at all the times? Yes, so you can keep all 13 or you can keep one of the 13. Like I keep Sankata, conditioned. That's the most easiest one to feel it because the breath is conditioned. It is not as per what I think it should be. It is the way it is in terms of conditions. So you can keep Sankata, or you can take a Paticcasamutpada called as a Paticcasamutpanna, or you can take Hayadhamma, Vayadhamma, whichever one out of these 13. You can take either one of them. Better to take all 13 when we get into a stage of going to the third or the fourth jhana, we can get into this contemplation, which will take into the Vidarshana or Vipassana. And if not, we can take either one of them. Any further questions? Okay, so if there are no further questions, shall we end the call? Okay, thank you very much. So we will again meet next time, continuing on the Kaya Nupassana. Thank you.